Okay, welcome back to Scarcasm blog or vlog. Vlog is such a weird word to say, but this is a question video where someone asked me to talk about the Nintendo Switch. Now, before I talk about the Nintendo Switch, let me tell you, personally, I'm not a Nintendo fan. I've been out on Nintendo since the Super Nintendo, so my comments may vary and may be a lot different from yours. I'll give you a little bit of backstory. I was a Nintendo fan as a child, as much as anyone else. I had an NES and an SNES. In fact, I had multiple SNESs. I liked Nintendo up until we got to the point where we started getting different games between them and Sega, and the big two issues that made me turn away from Nintendo was two games. And I know in the scheme of things, one of these is very insignificant, but it meant something to me at the time, which is Mortal Kombat, which they took out the blood and changed some of the fatalities and made the game very unlike what it actually is. And as a young game player, it was very troubling. It was a troubling sign of where things were going. I wanted to play the game that I played in the arcades. I didn't want to play a different game, and what I got was a different game, and I didn't like it so much. So that was half of the reason why I turned against Nintendo. The second part was Shaq Fu. Now I know, like I said, insignificant in the scheme of things, but I had friends and family that had Sega Genesis. Well, they had the Sega Genesis console, and the game on their console was a much, much different game, and it had more characters and things of that nature. And that was the game I wanted to play, not the one that I got. And after that, I was just like, I don't think I really want to roll with Nintendo that much anymore. I did like the Mario games, of course. Two of the best games of all time, Mario 3, Super Mario World, unquestioned, unquestioned. Yeah, really, unquestioned. And so I had not bought another Nintendo console for myself in quite a while. And well, for really forever since then. So there has been uh, Nintendo consoles and handhelds in my home, but they were not mine and they were not for me. My daughter has a DS. My ex had a Wii. My current girlfriend has a Wii. But I personally don't want anything to do with Nintendo, and the love that I had for Mario, and not necessarily a whole lot of the other games that Nintendo offers, it wasn't enough for me to want to continue with them. So I put down gaming for a little while. I mean, we all kind of do that when we start getting a little bit older and things become different. We get older, we start chasing girls, if you're a female, if you start chasing boys and things of that nature, it's just kind of changes for you. And it changed for me, and I picked back up with the PlayStation. So I completely skipped out on the 64, the GameCube, the DS, all of that stuff, and went straight to PlayStation from there. And then after the PlayStation 2, I switched over to Xbox, and eventually I started having both consoles at the same time. Last couple of console generations, I've had both the Sega and Microsoft's offerings, even though I lean heavily Microsoft in my gaming persuasion, I guess you could say. Um, so it's my biggest problem with Nintendo is they don't. I mean, they tend to march by the beat of their own drums, and sometimes it's a hit, and a lot of times it's not. With the 64 and the cost associated with the games and them not wanting to go to discs, it really limited what a lot of people could do. I mean, we were all still young, but there was still a lot of like in order for you to be able to play everything, you and your friends got to get together and switch off games and things of that nature, because the games were like $80 and stuff like that, and we were all still kids. So I went straight PlayStation, and Nintendo has not made anything for me since. Nothing that I've been even remotely interested in. Um, Having a Wii in the home changed it a little bit. I did play a little bit of Wii Sports, and I did buy Boom Blocks for the Wii that was already in my home, but I did not buy Nintendo consoles for myself. Even to the DS that I have, I bought it from my cuz who upgraded. Little cuz upgraded to a 3DS. I wanted to play Pokemon with my daughter, who wasn't good enough of a reader at the time. So I bought it from my little cuz. I got it, and because she wasn't a good enough reader at the time, I just kind of put the thing down and I never really used it very much. So even to this day, I mean, I bought that from someone else. I didn't buy it from Nintendo. And I don't play it at all. So it doesn't. So Nintendo, to me, is pretty insignificant. Now the Wii itself was a success. And the real success with the Wii is being able to get people who play games into gaming that wouldn't normally touch a video game. And I thought that that was mostly because of the Wii controller. The Wii controller was a remote. And it appealed to a lot of people, especially people who get people like my girlfriend who gets intimidated by a PlayStation or a 360 controller because of all of the buttons and all of the things that you can do, because she hasn't been a part of gaming for a long time. So the Wii is an obvious choice for someone like that. Me personally, I saw what was going to happen if Nintendo ever went away from that, and I'm on record. Quite a bit. I'm on record quite a bit. When they announced the when they announced the Wii U, I am on record saying from the very beginning that that thing was a fail, because of a couple of things. One, it didn't appeal to grandma anymore, because grandma, a lot of the older people who were into the Wii because it was a remote, they a lot of those older people, they don't want anything to do with our tablets. And so they decided to come out with a controller that was a tablet, and they just completely alienated the majority of the people that wanted a Wii in the first place. Like, it doesn't make they went against what they uh what their new core audience was, and they decided to create something to go against that. And that's part of the reason why I failed. Another reason why I failed is because they don't have third party support. A lot of the games from the Wii were just thrown together party games, and it didn't seem like anyone wanted to try to make good games for the Wii, and eventually the Wii U. And then you alienated the other audience, which was the normal core gamer audience. So they for for people who are excited about that were excited about the Wii U and they are now excited about the Nintendo Switch. They only have one audience now, and that's the nostalgic audience. The audience, they already alienated everyone else, and that's why I don't think the Nintendo Switch is going to do very well either. I believe that it's going to do very well at launch. But what happens after launch remains to be seen. The Nintendo Switch, for those who don't know, is a cross between a mobile platform and a normal home console platform, which in theory sounds like a good idea. But if they're not going to kill the DS, there is no point of having another mobile platform. That's number one. Number two, if this thing is going to be mobile, it needs to have a decent battery life, and 2 to 3 hours. It's not really going to cut it. It's not really going to work. And as I understand it now, I can be wrong. I could be 100% wrong, but you can't really charge this thing with a normal charger or a normal controller, which means if I commute and my commute is in an hour or so, if I have to catch a bus or a train or something like that, like a lot of people do, especially people in Japan, which Nintendo is a Japanese company. um, Once I take this thing with me and I get where I'm going, like say I'm going to work, I can't really charge this thing unless I buy another charger. It can't use the charger that I already have. Like I said, that remains to be seen. But right now, the way that it's looking, that just doesn't work for a lot of people. And with Nintendo constantly being behind the times with graphics and other performance, and being behind Sony and Microsoft, that makes these games not easy to port and not really easy to use by most of the people who want to use it, and not easy to make games by the people who make it. They're going to have basically dumb versions of the games that they love and the games that they want to play. Now, on the other hand, I'll be honest, the Vita wasn't a success. But I think the problem with the Vita, which did give you the performance and everything on the go, the Vita's success was hampered by the cost of the device itself, and the cost of the memory, because they decided to use proprietary memory for it, and that hindered. That hindered a lot of people from wanting to get into the whole Vita thing. But the Nintendo Switch itself, being behind graphics, well, being behind graphically, the 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 how long you can actually use it, and the dumb idea with the controllers. Okay, let me talk about the controllers real quick. I know this video is running a little long. It's running a little long. I can see what time it is. But the controllers, basically, you take the little controllers. There's two pieces that connect to the side or slide in, but the controllers are very small, and in the hands of anyone, um, other than responsible adults, which most Nintendo stuff is catered towards children. In the hand of anyone other than a responsible adult, those things can get lost pretty easily. And the idea that they want to come out with different versions of those controllers, just as little add-ons to play on the side, makes it less portable, because now, in addition to me carrying this thing that doesn't have a strong battery life, me not being able to charge it unless I buy an external charger, now, depending on what I want to play, I got to bring extra controllers or different types of controllers in order to be able to play the games that I want to play on the go. It just doesn't seem like a good proposition. And trotting out the same things over and over again, Mario, Zelda, and all that kind of stuff, it's just not going to cut it. They need to do something. They need to do something drastic in order to change their fortunes. And given the history of Nintendo, that doesn't seem like anything that they're willing to do. And that's why I think the Nintendo Switch is a bad idea. Of course, it's all pretty early. We are just now getting real information on the Switch. And I hope some of this stuff can be cleared up, or it has a better showing after than what it does right now. But as of right now, it doesn't have a good showing at all. It's not a good sign, and that's the reason why there's a good possibility of this thing failing, just like the others. So I talk too long. That's me. You tell me what you think. Tell me in the comments or in one of the ways that you can contact your boy after. I'll put that after the video. And it's your boy Scarfinger. This is Scarcasm Vlog. I'm out of here. Fuck Nintendo.